What is going on, everyone? I appreciate y'all for tuning in tonight. I'm gonna try to get through this quick because I'm tired. So I'm gonna try to get through this quick uh, before I start the show. Like, hey, shout out to the people who tuned in and actually waited for me because I always start a few minutes late. It's just been this week, man. Last week and this week has been kind of rough on your boy. So, hey, bear with me. I'm gonna get my time situation squared away, but shout out to the people who hit early, the people who leave in the comments. Maddie, Sis, Maui, hey, I appreciate you all. Let's go ahead and dive into it. We're going to talk about this lawsuit that was filed. It was an amended lawsuit that was filed from a previous lawsuit that I think was filed in October of 2023, if I'm not mistaken. In that, the plaintiff is Jane Doe, doesn't want to disclose their identity, which is allowed, but there's some challenges to that. We'll talk about it. And also in that, Sean Combs was named as a defendant, and other individuals who were potential defendants at the time were unnamed. Now, fast forward, these individuals are named, and one of those names happened to be Jay-Z, Sean Carter. We're going to discuss because the lawsuit, okay, it's a complaint. So when you file a complaint, it doesn't have to be a bunch of facts. It just has to be enough written in there that there is enough for the court to move forward to go to the fact finding stage of bringing in witnesses and testifying and everything to that effect. So we're going to talk about it as always. Hey, licensed attorney, not your attorney, not legal or financial advice. Opinion and takes on topics and current events. If you get some value out of this content, like, subscribe, comment, share. And if you really want to help the channel, definitely become a member. We're going to dive into this because, like I said, your boy say it ain't so, Jay-Z. I've been seeing all over the places like he got 99 problems. Now he got 100 problems. But he had a really strong really strong statement where he is denying these allegations. Now I tell you, I don't really strong statements of denial don't mean anything because people be crying and doing all sorts of stuff. Hell, Sean Combs was crying and doing all sorts of stuff. Then we saw these crazy videos, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to get into it. Let's go ahead, cue up the complaint right now. How we want to do this? Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it that way. That's good. I think that's the best way that we're gonna look at it. I got this a little bit differently. So, first amended complaint and demand for a jury trial. Defendants, all of Diddy's stuff. Okay, Combs, Sean Combs, Daddy's house, all of Diddy's stuff. Bad Boy Entertainment, Bad Boy Books Holding, Bad Boy Productions, all sorts of stuff. Then all the way down here, you have and Sean Carter. Okay, so both of the Seans are under the microscope, but we're gonna dive into this because again, I can file a complaint against someone watching this video right now, pretty much alleging anything. So it is a complaint, it's just allegations at this point. But we're gonna talk about it, talk about how much substantive evidence is actually included in this. All right. Plaintiff Jane Doe, plaintiff buying through her attorney, the Bubsby Law Firm, for her complaint alleges as follow. Hey, shout out to the Busby Law Firm. They had a whole press conference that was free advertisement where they talked about how they got thousands of allegations and they were vetting each one of them to make sure they could substantiate these claims, just to confirm that they weren't filing any BS. So where is Mace? Mace chilling on this podcast with Cameron, man. Leave Mason, leave the former pastor Mason Betha out of this. That's funny. Where's Mace? All right. So let's go ahead, jump back into this complaint. Defendant Sean Combs, aka Diddy, Puff Daddy, Diddy, aka PD, aka Love, along with his longtime friend and collaborator Sean Carter, aka Jay-Z, drugged and SA'd a 13-year-old after an after party following a 2000 Video Music Award. Now, I don't know about the Bubs B law firm. I'm assuming from that few sentences that they don't have many black people in there. Let me see. Let me look this up. I could tell. I'm gonna tell y'all how I could tell that. I would be shocked if they got a African American attorney at this firm. Let's see. They might. I don't know. Uh, I think we got one. Okay, we got okay, we got one. Cause I'm gonna tell y'all what was weird about that. All right. I know a lot of people would probably didn't call this Diddy story won't end honestly. There's always going to be a new version. That's true. That is accurate. But hey, when you can name another billionaire in a lawsuit, if you got evidence to potentially prove it, substantiate it, hey, go ahead and do that. But I thought this was weird. This is the first weird thing I noticed in this lawsuit. Um, I was just skeptical. They do have let me pull it up so y'all can see. Did I did I have it up here? I thought I had it up there. Oh, I got it on the other browser. Give me 1 second. Well, I'm not going to pull it up, but they do have one brother at this law firm. I was skeptical about the amount of African Americans at this law firm because this just kind of jumped out as weird. When you're naming defendants, you normally name all of their aliases. And they got Love, Diddy, Puff Daddy, PD. They got all this stuff for Diddy. Then his longtime friend and collaborator, Sean Carter, aka Jay Z. And I was like, that's weird. Why didn't they name all of his aliases? So I'm assuming the person who wrote this probably wasn't familiar with his other rap aliases that you would normally name just as a matter of course. Uh, Hova, J Hova, the God MC. I mean, you could just go down the line, but I thought that was weird. But okay, these two allegedly drugged and SA'd a 13-year-old girl at an after party following the 2000 Video Music Awards. That's crazy. Allegations. Another celebrity stood by and watched as Combs and Carter took turns assaulting the minor. Many others were present at the after party but did nothing to stop the assault. Combs has been allowed for years to conduct himself in this manner without any consequence. He believes he is above the law. He is not. His close friend Sean Carter has been with Combs during many such instances described herein. Both perpetrators must face justice. Okay, now I don't know. Another thing that's weird about this, and we ain't going to go through all of this because some of it is going to be skippable. But another thing that's weird is I think this is weird. His close friend Sean Carter has been with Combs during many such instances described herein. Both perpetrators must face justice. I don't know. I probably wouldn't included that statement if this complaint is only talking about one particular evidence. If this complaint is talking about one instance, what facts do you have to support that Sean Carter has been involved in these instances numerous times with Combs? I just don't see the whole point of saying that. I think that's a little bit of a hyperbole, just trying to hype things up personally. All right, for decades, defendant Combs abused, molested, threatened, and coerced women, minors, and others for sexual gratification to assert dominance and to conceal his abhorrent conduct. He accomplished these acts by and through criminal enterprise built in. Okay, all we see is everything about Puffy right here. Combs is one of the wealthiest musicians and artists in the world. Behind the facade of being a three-time Grammy Award winner, Combs is a menace to society. Uh, he's a menace to society, women, and children. With his, while his wealth had kept him above consequences for years, Combs now faces the awesome power of the American judicial system and ultimately a jury of his peers who will be asked to punish him for his deplorable conducts described herein. So I'm assuming, because I'll be honest, I haven't read this. I haven't read this complaint, so I'm reading it as we're going through it now to catch it at the beginning. So I'm assuming This first part is going to lay out all of Sean Combs stuff. Then after this, they're going to have a subsequent part that's going to lay out everything for Jay-Z. That's what I'm assuming is the format that is going to be written in. That female celebrity took advice of Bugsby's firm to avoid being named. Um, there's a reason. I'm gonna tell y'all an investigative strategy once we get through, but I think is a benefit to the plaintiff if this is something that actually occurred. That the third person isn't named. I believe the third person is probably a female. What's going on, Lisa? I appreciate you for tuning in. But all right, let's go ahead and get back to this so we can get through this. All right, Combs' business enterprise is central to his pervasive acts of SA and the abuse committed by him during the last decade. Combs operated his business headquartered at various times in Manhattan and Los Angeles under a variety of United States-based corporate entities, including Bad Boy Entertainment, Bad Boy Bookings and Holdings, Bad Boy Records, a whole bunch of corporations. All right. Corporate entities in the Combs business portfolio included record labels, a recording studio, an apparel line, an alcohol experience promoting business, and marketing agent, marketing agency, talent discovery, and a television network and media company. On the surface, each of these business serves as a legitimate purpose related to entertainment, music, and other subjects, but in reality, Combs buying through himself and his agents, all Diddy stuff, employed and contractors use those businesses to abuse, threaten, and coerce hundreds of individuals through sexual quid pro quo schemes. And just note that I'm saying SA because YouTube get a little funky sometimes, as well as to take advantage of individuals with impunity, thinking the victims would never have any recourse. Combs and his agents, employees, and contractors through these businesses would tell victims, this is what it takes to be famous. What are you willing to do to become a star? And perform this act or else in exchange for the victim performing a non consensual act for the gratification of Combe and his cohorts. Okay, so hey, so far he using a lot of buzzwords here in this complaint just to hey, you want to come in hot, okay? So hey, shout out to attorney Busby for hey, he trying to come out hot. He's trying to use a bunch of words to placate to the court. Hey, this amazing justice system is going to hold these people accountable. I never used anything like that in the hundreds of legal pleadings I drafted. But hey, sometimes, hey, you want to do a little bit of pandering to the tribunal, that's up to you. All right, members and associates of Combs businesses engaged in, among other activities, trafficking, forced labor, interstate transportation for the purposes of prostitution, coercion, and enticement to engage in prostitution, narcotics offenses, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. All P Diddy stuff. Like I mean, all of this stuff is written in here, but this is all P Diddy stuff. I'm assuming the Jay-Z stuff is going to come after this. And to be fair, this is the best way to make sure it's written. You want the person who has, you want the person who the public despises and loathes the most to be on the front end of the lawsuit. Nobody going to believe Diddy. Everybody already judged him in the court of public opinion. Video footage out there proved that he's uh, the veracity of his statements. He's not a truthful person. So this is definitely smart to put him in the front. That's what you want to do. Because somebody reading this is gonna be like, yeah, Diddy's an asshole. And then you just slide Jay-Z on the back end. So that's the approach they're taking. Okay. For years, his business engaged in persistent and pervasive pattern of abuse towards women, men, and minors. This abuse was at times verbal, emotional, physical, and sexual. As part of the pattern of abuse, Combs manipulated both men and women to participate in highly orchestrated performances of sexual activity with both commercial workers and unsuspecting partygoers. Combs ensured participation from these individuals by, among other things, obtaining and distributing narcotics to them with or without their knowledge, controlling their careers, leveraging his financial support, and threatening to cut off the same, and using intimidation, violence, and illicit drugs. So all the usual suspects, all the same type of things we've been hearing from Diddy. Combs particularly fine. Let me see. Combs particularly fancied the use of a popular date drug Rohypnol or GHB, to commit heinous non-consensual acts of violence unto countless victims. Combs often would secretly use the drug in an alcoholic beverage served at his party. Partygoers were forced to consume the beverage containing GHB either prior to entering or while at Combs' party. There are also allegations of Combs dousing victims in lotion or similar body oils, also laced with GHB, so that the drug would be absorbed through the victim's skin and make it easier to assault him or her. Hey, so I don't know about that's kind of wild. So now let's just put these accusations together. Now we know what the the 10,000 bottles of oils and lubes were for. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't know about y'all, but the very first person that I heard say this was Scrappy. So hey, shout out to the oils and lubes and all sorts of exotic erotic massage oils was laced with some type of narcotic. So, but Scrappy was the first person that I heard say this in a interview. I can't remember if it was on Vlad TV or Art of Dialogue. It was on some interview, but Scrappy was the first person I heard say this. Let's go ahead. Let's check out some of these comments real quick before we jump back into the complaint. They said that Jay-Z was next. Everybody cannot be lying about these allegations. Hey, let's give a big shout out to Jaguar Wright. Hey, Jaguar Wright been saying this for the longest. And I'm gonna just be honest. Maybe this is me, okay? But if I'm a celebrity and Jaguar Wright is doing all of these interviews saying I'm doing all of this stuff that I didn't do, I would have sued her black ass so damn fast. I would have filed that lawsuit so fast. So I always thought it was odd that Jaguar Wright is on these media outlets, on these YouTube channels with millions of views, just saying all of these things, and nobody ever filed a lawsuit against her for like defamation or libel or slander or anything like that. I don't know. If nobody ever filed a lawsuit against her, either they're just trying to ignore her, or I don't know. If it were me, I'm filing a lawsuit. So I find it interesting that no one has ever filed a defamation lawsuit against her. Yeah, that's crazy. 13. That's how old my daughter is. Which leads me, the other thing is like, I don't know. Maybe I guess everybody's household is different, but I don't know. I can't see my 13-year-old daughter sneaking out of the house to go to fucking any place. Like, I don't know. But like, I don't know. Like, I guess everybody's different. They could have worked at night or something. I don't know the details of it, but that's just kind of crazy. All right, let's see. Animal tranquilizer is found in hey, and that stuff will lay you out. It ain't funny, but next time someone throws baby oil at you run. Hey, I don't know. I the thing that just makes no sense to me is I'm sure right now there's a party going on in Hollywood where there's a bunch of women and freakiness going on and drugs going on. I think all the extra stuff is what elevated this to an entirely different level. All the intimidation tactics and the video surveillance, and because I mean, you can't. I'm convinced that this stuff, these type of parties in general, happen in Hollywood all the time. I mean, I just think they happen all the time. I just think that all the extracurricular stuff got a little ridiculous. All right, Combs' recurrent and pervasive physical abuse took place for multiple decades. His tendency of violence and sexual assault were well known amongst his colleagues, employees, agents, and businesses. On numerous occasions, from at least in or about 1996 and continuing for years, Combs assaulted women and men by striking, punching, dragging, throwing objects at, and kicking them. Combs also assaulted children both physically and sexually. In 1996, Combs was found guilty of criminal mischief for threatening a photographer from the New York Post with a gun. In 1999, he was arrested and charged with second-degree assault and criminal mischief in connection with assaulting a record executive. Combs was arrested again the same year for his involvement in a shooting at a club in New York. Another instance of his violence occurred at a Los Angeles hotel in or about March 2016, which was captured on video and later publicly reported, where Combs kicked, dragged, and threw a vase at a woman as she was attempting to leave his hotel room when hotel security staff intervened. Combs also attempted to bribe the staff members to assure silence. In the past year, numerous civil complaints have been filed by plaintiffs who allege that they have been assaulted by Combs between 91 and 2009. In November of 2023, three lawsuits were filed against Combs under the New York Adult Survivors Act. Cassie Ventura, an artist signed to Bad Boy, sued Combs for the rape and abuse. Combs allegedly facilitated these acts by and through supplying Miss Ventura with copious amounts of drugs and urging her to take. Okay, all of this stuff is the usual stuff. We got Joy Dickerson Neal also sued Combs in New York, alleging Combs drugged her, assaulted her, and secretly recorded the assault in 91. Liz Gardner, who Combs met at an event hosted by a record label affiliated with Bad Boy, sued him for the same thing, and a friend in 1990 and 1991 when she was only 16. In December of 2023, an anonymous plaintiff sued Combs in New York for drugging and gang assaulting her in 2003 when she was only 17 years old. The victim alleged that employees and business associates of Combs, through their affiliation with Bad Boy Entertainment, lured her to Combs' home where Combs then performed this heinous act. In February 2024, Rodney Little Rod Jones, one of Combs' former producers, sued Combs for forcing him to engage in unwanted acts and sex trafficking. Among other allegations, Jones alleged that Combs regularly drugged others, including minors, by giving them drugs laced with ecstasy and other date rape drugs. Mr. Jones alleged that Combs, in fact, drugged him as well in order to commit an act of SA. In May of 2024, former model Crystal McKinney in April, Lamppost sued Combs. This dude is going to be broke as fuck when all this is over. Sued Combs. Miss McKinney alleged that Combs drugged and SA'd her at his recording studio in 2003, mimicking what has now become known as a pattern. Combs promised Miss McKinney to help her with her modeling career in exchange for engaging in the conduct with him. Miss Lamppost, an intern at Arista Records, which was an owner of Bad Boy, also sued Combs in May of 2024 for the same type of conduct, secretly filming these acts and showing the recordings to multiple people. Miss Lamppost also alleged that Combs ordered her to take the drugs on one occasion before he engaged in the act. Good grief, I'm tired of reading all this stuff about Diddy. All right, where we gonna get to? We know what was going on with Diddy. I'm telling y'all right now, I'm about to skip all this stuff. I don't even like reading this. It's kind of gross, even though these are just accusations. Like, man, but I don't want to keep reading this stuff, man. This dude is freaking weird. All right, their dirty parties had to come to an end someday. The party is over. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Let's see. They're passing out. Hey, that's wild too. Yeah, that's wild. Well, I don't know. According to Gene Deal, Diddy's former street security guy, he said he was responsible for bringing uh, boxes of condoms to these parties. So Gene Deal just admitted his involvement, but I actually did a video on that where Gene Deal probably not shouldn't talk as much as he has been talking. All right, let's go ahead and we already know USA versus Sean Combs, blah, blah, blah. The indictment, Combs abused women and minors. Combs has a long history of that. So far, okay, all right. Hey, I'm just going to be honest. We on paragraph 2021 of this complaint. We're on paragraph 21 of this complaint. And the only thing that I heard about Jay-Z is just him being named. So, hey, so far, no real substance to anything. This is just me giving my take. Hey, just allegations. All the truthfulness of everything has to be in court. But so far, I'm not seeing any details or a lot of details related to Sean Carter. Now let's go. Now I said they're probably gonna put all the Diddy stuff first, which is the correct way to write it. But we 21 paragraphs in. It's all Diddy. Okay. Okay, all right. So here you go. We'll pick up at paragraph 2022. I see Carter. So as soon as I see Carter, we're gonna pick up on paragraph 22. Defendant Carter is like Combs, a wildly successful rapper and businessman. Carter and Combs have a long history together. Carter met and began collaborating musically with Combs in the 1990s. Combs and Carter rose together to the very top of the hip hop industry in terms of fame and influence by the end of that decade. Okay, that's just a fact. So far, so far, all right, nothing. Combs and Carter were not simply occasionally collaborators in the music industry. The two men developed a close friendship that has been well documented from the late 1990s to present. Together, they attended countless music industry events, events for each other's business ventures, parties, and after parties. Indeed, the two are apparently so close that Combs stated in the 2023 that Carter is the only person other than Combs' mother who is allowed to call him by his legal first name, Sean. In 2000, near the height of their fame, power, and influence, Combs and Carter attended the 2000 Video Music Award in New York City. Afterward, Combs hosted an after party for many of the most famous celebrities in the music and entertainment industries, including Carter, which is where the events alleged in this complaint occurred. All right, parties. This just naming out the parties to the lawsuit. Let's see if they name Jay Z by his other uh, aliases. Plaintiff Jane Doe, female who resides in Alabama. Defendant Sean Combs. Defendant Daddy's House Recording. Defendant a bunch of businesses. Bad Boy Holdings, BBE, Bad Boy Entertainment. Bad Boy Entertainment Holding, Bad Boy Holding, blah, blah, blah. Just naming all the defendants. I don't see anything defendant Bad Boy Productions. Okay. Okay. All right. So we're gonna fast forward to all those defendants and all of those paragraphs were essentially Sean Combs and all of his various multiple business entities. Now we finally get to paragraph 32. Defendant Sean Carter is a male who on information and belief maintains residences in both New York and Los Angeles. Defendant Carter is more commonly known by his industry name of Jay Z. Carter was identified in plaintiff's original complaint as Celebrity A. Prior to filing this amended complaint, Carter received a letter from plaintiff's counsel requesting a mediation to resolve this matter. Upon present information and belief, Jay Z responded to said letter by not only filing an utterly frivolous lawsuit, but also by orchestrating a conspiracy of harassment, bullying, and intimidation against plaintiff lawyers and their families, employees, and former associates in an attempt to silence plaintiffs from naming Jay Z herein. This effort was meant to scare plaintiff and to discredit her counsel. That effort failed. Indeed, plaintiff chose to file this amended complaint. As a result of the egregious conduct perpetrated by Carter. Okay, so let's talk about this real quick because this is actually interesting, and we're gonna have to see. I'm gonna pull up a video where they talk about Jay Z's response to all of this, but this is actually kind of interesting. That's a normal tactic to do. Okay, so all that reading, I know. We ain't want to see you drink no Gatorade, but that's a normal legal tactic, a normal legal thing that's done. I've drafted hundreds of them. You draft a demand letter like, yo, we got enough to file this lawsuit on you, but we're going to try to avoid that. We're going to file this demand letter. And the demand letter is normally a couple of pages. It's never so in depth because you're not giving away all of the facts. You're just stating enough generic, general facts so they can know, okay, these are the particular allegations, the date, the fact, the circumstances surrounding what we're talking about. The whole purpose of the demand letter is to try to get negotiations started to resolve anything before you even have to go to court. Now, again, these are allegations, but this is just me, okay? If if I were advising Jay-Z and if he was being truthful, which nobody isn't, we all saw Diddy denied everything, and I'm sure he denied everything because he told his lawyers that it was a lie. Then we saw the video of him being a monster, and so I'm sure most people should tell their lawyers the truth. If Jay-Z is being 100% genuine and adamant and truthful that this didn't happen, I agree completely with, hey, you write a demand letter, that's fine. You write a demand letter, we not paying you shit. We not gonna give you any money. I think that's the approach that I would go with. But if he isn't being truthful, I'm gonna assume because this is a complaint that he's being truthful because he had a stark, uh, vehement denial of these allegations. So I'm gonna give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I think everybody is telling the truth. I think Jane Doe is telling the truth. I think Sean Carter is telling the truth. Now somebody gonna be proven to be a liar or full of shit or not have evidence. Either way, but uh, a demand letter is a normal course of action. It's not necessarily a shakedown. That's something that's just done during a normal course of business for an attorney. So the use of the shakedown term, I think, is a little disingenuous personally. But he's, yeah, literally, right? Is it that the money that makes people weird because no one is going to tolerate this kind of from someone poor? Man, it is. Trust me, somewhere right now is people who probably are below the poverty line, who probably at their Section 8 housing, who probably having a butt booty ball naked party that's super freaky, but nobody don't give a damn about okay. Nobody don't give a damn about broke ass people doing anything, because the issue why this is so important is because the amount of power, fame, and along with the power, especially with Diddy, came conduct that thought he could manipulate situations in his favor by using strong arm, pretty much Gestapo tactics. But yeah, nobody give a damn about poor people probably having some butt naked orgy somewhere right now, and they got all sorts of stuff, and nobody give two craps about it. Who decides if it's frivolous? People just call it frivolous. A lawsuit isn't frivolous until it's actually a lawsuit isn't frivolous until the factual. If a lawsuit is frivolous, it'll probably get dismissed before there's even an actual trial. It'll probably get dismissed during the motion stage. A complaint is filed, the opposing party is going to file an answer denying everything in the complaint. Then they're going to have all of this motions practice. Your Honor, we're asking for a motion to dismiss, and we're going to read a letter that Jay-Z's counsel wrote today and submit it to the court, asking for a motion to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction. But they're going to go through it. But ultimately, the court determines what's a frivolous lawsuit. That's the best answer I could give. Is Jay-Z going? Jay-Z ain't gonna sue Jaguar. If Jay-Z was gonna sue Jaguar, he would have sued a Jaguar. Again, hey, round of applause to Jaguar Right. We've been telling her story for years. Like Jaguar Wright has been telling her story for years. Nobody sued her yet. So if they didn't sue her yet, they either don't care about it. It could be a few reasons. I, I could not sue her for defamation because it could be true. I cannot sue her because, like, hey, she could say what she want. Nobody is really believing her because she's kind of she's kind of out there, maybe some type of potential mental health issues, or she's an outcast and celebrity. There's all these different ways that people could potentially perceive her in a negative light. Now, if it were me and I didn't do anything, I would sue her ass. But if she hasn't been sued to this point with all the stuff she's been saying about all these celebrities, I don't think anybody is going to sue her. Yeah, nobody going to touch her. And again, it's either because they don't care, or if I get sued for defamation, what's the defense to defamation? Truth. If I can prove what I'm saying is true, hey, I win. It's no defamation lawsuit. So, hey, shout out to Jaguar Wright for talking that coming out of the side of the game just yet. So let's go and jump back in, because we diving into the Sean Carter aspect of it. But long story short, they sent a demand letter. A demand letter is normal, trying to resolve everything without having to file paperwork in court. All right, let's see where we at. Okay, all right. Jay-Z tried to intimidate plaintiff's counsel. This effort failed. Indeed, plaintiff chose to file this amendment as a result of this egregious conduct perpetrated by Carter. Okay, each of Combs' corporations aided and abetted in Combs committing the unlawful violence against the plaintiff described herein are alter egos for Combs, completely dominated by him and used for his personal interests and to engage in wrongdoing. which herein plaintiff and others and or serve as vehicles for Combs to move, dispose of, or insulate his assets, including in connection with his criminal activities, and avoid compensating the victims of his many crimes, including plaintiff. Jurisdiction and venue, that case is properly filed in the proper court, in the proper jurisdiction, the proper venue. Y'all got subject matter jurisdiction. Jury demand, plaintiff hereby demands a jury trial on her claims in this action. The other thing that's, you know what else is weird? I just thought about, yo, that's weird. Hold up. I just saw something that was weird. I just thought about something that was weird. I thought about something that was weird. I'm kind of confused. Like this is actually written kind of weird. It just hit me. I don't know why I just thought about this. I didn't think of it as I was reading it, but if I'm suing you and you have a business, by default, I'm naming your business entity in the lawsuit as well because I want to sue you. If you were at the awards, let's say hypothetically, if if Diddy, Jay-Z are at the awards, there's a valid argument that they're at those awards not in their personal capacity, but their professional capacity to one, accept the award, but also to promote their brand, Bad Boy Entertainment. So it's actually odd in this lawsuit that they name Sean Carter, but they don't name any of his businesses. Like back then when this occurred, like, hey, The Rock was a big deal. Now I'm assuming that the businesses weren't named because those entities have since dissolved or been sold to, or Damon Dash owned them and they ain't worth shit. One of the two. But I don't know. Like I don't know. That's interesting. Damn, that's a good question. That's a good legal question. I gotta think about that. At the time, Jay Z had a record label. The record label has since dissolved. I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah, they may be just limited to naming him as a defendant since those business entities are either non-existent or broke as hell right now. So I don't know. I gotta think about that because I can see a way where just because I dissolve the business and if I move substantial portion of my business assets over to new company A, hmm. Interesting question. I'm gonna have to think about that before we get into that. That's an interesting question though. All right, factual allegations. All right, here we go. This is the meat and potatoes. Let's see how many times we see Jay-Z's name mentioned in this. Then we're gonna read a letter that Jay-Z attorney submitted with the court today, and then we're gonna watch Jay-Z's vehement denial of these allegations. Let me see. All right, yeah, we'll leave it on that screen right there so y'all can read along if you also choose. All right, factual allegations. On or around September 7th, 2000, plaintiff, a 13-year-old, had a friend drive and drop her off near Radio City Music Hall in New York City so she could try to attend the Video Music Awards. Attending the VMAs was on plaintiff's bucket list, and she believed she could gain entry. That's fucking crazy. That's crazy. I wish I don't know. My daughter 13, and I can't see. And now I know everybody's household different. The circumstances. Parents could have been working. It's not necessarily that the parents were oblivious to what their child was doing. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying that wouldn't be DFD's daughter. That's all I'm saying. And I just showed somebody. My daughter did the walk the runway at New York Fashion Week this year, and she did an outstanding job, but I didn't fucking like it. I did not like it one bit, but that's a whole nother story. All right, so the 13-year-old thought she could gain entry to the Video Music Awards, and it was on her bucket list. Plaintiff arrived at the venue and saw large crowds gathering as artists and entertainers began arriving. Plaintiff was very excited. As the event began, much of the crowd moved inside, but plaintiff without a ticket remained outside with others and watched the VMAs on the Jumbotron. Determined to get into the VMAs or the after party, she approached several limousine drivers parked nearby and attempted to talk her way into either. One of the limousine drivers she spoke to claimed to work for defendant Combs. The driver told her that Combs liked younger girls and said she fit what Diddy was looking for. And while not allowing her into the awards, the driver invited her to an after party. Yeah, that driver should be in this lawsuit too. Nobody probably know who that fucking driver was at the time. Well, I'm sure Diddy know who that driver was at the time. I'm sure he has meticulous business records that probably go all the way back to that time. But that's ridiculous. Okay, the driver also stated that he had to drive Combs and others to the after party first, but instructed plaintiff to return to this location after the event and that he pick her up and take her to the after party. Ridiculous. Later that evening, plaintiff excitedly returned to the same location and waited for what seemed to be a long time. The driver eventually returned and drove her to what's described as the after party. At approximately 29 minutes, after approximately 29 minutes, plaintiff arrived at what she believed to be a large white residence with a gated U-shaped driveway. Once inside, two men asked plaintiff to sign a document which plaintiff did not read, but which she now believes to have been a non-disclosure agreement. Okay, now real quick, I gotta take a pause for the cause right there because we gotta talk about this because that was absolutely dumb. All right, real quick, hold on, let me get a, beverage break before we go too far. All this damn reading. All right, now let me explain why that is dumb. Okay, in contract law, there are several reasons that a person can't enter into a valid contract. If I have a diminished mental capacity, I'm incapacitated. I can't enter into a contract. If there's a if I'm under the age of majority, I'm a minor, I can't enter into a contract. There's actually cases out there where like a 17-year-old gets a credit card and runs up like $50,000 on the credit card. The credit card company like, we want our money back, and the court's like, hey, that person was a minor. Y'all didn't do y'all due diligence, so y'all out 50,000 bucks. So a minor can't enter into a valid contract. That's the reason when my daughter does something on the dancing modeling side of the game, hey, DFD got to be the attorney, the negotiator of all the terms and sign everything because that's just kind of how it goes. So this is why it's stupid. One, a minor can't enter into a contract. But two, if the driver, I can't. There's no footage or photograph of what this 13-year-old looked like. But just from reading it, it appears that to me, if the driver saw her standing out there saying like, "Oh, you just the type that he looking at," she probably looked her age. This is just me. This is the 2000s. She's probably looked like someone who was an actual teenager. I'm just assuming that's what I can gather from reading this complaint and the statements that is have alleged to have been said by the limo driver. If you have a person who's underage, why in the hell would you have them sign anything? One is not legally binding, but two, all you're doing is actually creating a paper trail that that person was actually at this physical location along with your dumb ass if these allegations are true. So that's actually insane. Like, okay, all minors come in, but before y'all come in, sign this NDA just to protect me. Like, you idiot. Now you got an NDA with your interest with a minor signature on it that's not a valid contract, but it establishes a few things. It establishes that one, you were probably at that location. It establishes two, that the victim or the alleged victim was at that location. Three, it establishes the time frame because that contract probably has the date on it. Like, and you probably got that shit filed in the fucking file cabinet somewhere. So shout out to dumbass criminals. They keep people like me gainfully employed. But I thought that was just absolutely uh, ridiculous. She's broke. Who, Jaguar, right? Hmm, I don't know. Broke is a relative term. Yeah. Let's see. Bucket list. That's crazy. And that's the other thing too. She was just out there solo dolo at 13. That's crazy. That's yeah. That is a good point. I didn't even think of that. But like, okay, it's on your bucket list, and you went there solely by yourself without your friends. Hey, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. I thought the yeah. I don't know. It could have been a little bit of. It could be both. Honestly, he could do. That's a good point. It could used for the setup to obtain video footage, allegedly, or for self indulgence. But I don't know. I think that was extremely stupid, though, to have an NDA signed by a minor that has no legal weight, and all it does is. Could you imagine, like, if somebody in Diddy's office made a copy of that non-disclosure agreement? Oh my goodness! Or saw that non-disclosure agreement, and they're there to testify, like, yeah, my job was to get all the non-disclosure agreements signed, and now you establish, like, oh man, that was a stupid ass move. All right. So once inside, two men asked plaintiffs to sign a document what plaintiffs did not read, but she now believes was a non-disclosure agreement. She was told that she could not discuss what happened at the party. She gave the men her name and signed the form, but did not receive a copy. Inside the building, plaintiff recognized many celebrities as she entered what appeared to be a large living room or foyer, a foyer area containing a large crowd. Plaintiff attempted to mingle in the crowd and talk to several of the celebrities that she recognized and whom she wanted to see at the VMAs. Uh, what it say? Wait staff circulated through the room carrying trays of drinks, and loud music played throughout the venue. Plaintiff observed widespread drug use, including marijuana and cocaine. After attempting to talk to numerous celebrities, plaintiff accepted a drink from one of the waitresses circulating in the crowd. The drink was a reddish yellow mixture that tasted like orange juice, cranberry juice, and something bitter. After drinking a portion of the drink, plaintiff began to feel woozy and lightheaded, making her need to lie down. A photograph of an actual exemplary container used by Combs and or his agents' employees to insert GHB into alcoholic drinks are seen below. Okay, so this is the device that they use to put the drugs in the drink, allegedly. And this device is next to this pen. They just do this to show scale so you can know, like, now that I see it next to this pen, I know how large or small this particular thing is. Um, Paragraph 50 is a point that I think the defense for Sean Combs, Sean Carter, any of the Seans would probably use because I don't know. I think this is a valid point. Y'all let me know what y'all think. But I think the argument here is going to be, hold on, let's go back to the paragraph so I can read it. After drinking just a portion of that drink, plaintiff began to feel woozy and lightheaded, making her need to lie down. If you felt woozy and lightheaded and you needed to lie down, now I'm interested to see if she can explain, or if she explains how much time lapsed between the taking of this substance, feeling woozy and lightheaded, and then the actual assault occurring. Because that's actually important. Now, I'm not saying that these allegations can't have happened this way, but if you took a substance, you've conceded that you took a substance, that you were woozy, lightheaded, you needed to lay down. How can you actually identify any of my clients? How do you know who was in there? How do you know who was in the room? You snuck into a party. As this is just what the defense is gonna say. You snuck into a party as a fast ass. That's how they won't say that, but they'll imply that in their argument and in their line of questioning. If this lady has to get on the stand, they're gonna imply that, hey, she was fast. You were under the influence to a party that you snuck in. If this is the case, how you were in no position to be able to identify anybody? Okay, what you took the drink? What did you drink it in? You drank it in a glass cup, a paper cup, a red cup? It's so many lines of direct questioning that I could see an attorney asking that will trip somebody up from an event that occurred in 2020 something years ago. So I think that's going to be a point that the defense attorney for either side is going to bring up and going to attack. All right. Looking for a place to rest, plaintiff walked down what appeared to be a hallway containing several rooms off of it. She entered what appeared to be an empty bedroom so she could lie down for a moment. She did not lock the door. The room contained only a large bed with no furniture of any kind, television, or other furnishings. Soon after, Combs entered the room along with defendant Carter and a female celebrity, Celebrity B. Plaintiff immediately recognized all three celebrities. Now, this paragraph is interesting because before I read this, I'm going to tell y'all what is the benefit. Well, they named Combs, they finally amended and named Carter as a defendant A. They got defendant Celebrity B, who's a female. That's all we know. If these allegations are true, there's a lot of value in naming it in the complaint like this. Because if I'm the attorney for the plaintiff and these allegations are true, all three of the celebrities, to include female Celebrity B, is well known. So my client already told me who Celebrity B is. I just didn't disclose it to the court yet. So the play that's probably going to happen that I would do if I were the plaintiff's attorney, I would want to have communications with plaintiff B. Like, hey, plaintiff B, hey, we know you were there. Don't cap like you weren't there. We know that you were there. But hey, if you are willing to testify on our behalf, and I'm gonna just be honest. If let's just be honest, if there's a celebrity female, even though the female celebrity in the room could have been just as heinous as the allegations against Jay Z and Diddy in this complaint, but let's just keep it a buck. If the female celebrity who is with them is there, she could have potentially been under the same influence of substances or something that we seen this young lady talk about. She could have been in that, maybe that Cassie role. Now, there's a lot of speculation about who that third person was. I ain't gonna name no names. I'm gonna leave that just to y'all. The 2000s woman, plaintiff B, I mean defendant B, who would probably be rolling with Diddy. I don't know. I'm gonna leave that to y'all. But I think there is some value in not naming Celebrity B. Celebrity B may be able to use as a witness to testify on your behalf to corroborate these allegations. So I think that's a smart approach by not naming them. Okay, Combs aggressively approached plaintiff with a crazed look in his eye, grabbed her and said, "You're ready to party." Combs then threw plaintiff towards the wall, causing the plaintiff to fall. Plaintiff got up and stumbled, at which point Combs grabbed her and threw her on the bed. At that point, uh, Carter began removing the plaintiff's clothes as she grew more and more disoriented. Again, you're disoriented. You're talking about feeling dizzy, but you're 100% positive these were the persons who were involved. That's going to be the defense's argument. Plaintiff was held down by Carter as he assaulted her while Combs and Celebrity B watched. So, hey, the fact that Combs and Celebrity B watched, it just kind of confirms to me that Combs and Celebrity B were essentially together with some because together in some capacity. All right. After Carter finished, he stepped back towards the wall. Then Combs stepped forward and did the same thing to plaintiff while Carter and Celebrity B watched. I don't know. It sounds like Celebrity B is somebody who's associated with Diddy, but hey, hey, we clearly see from this that Diddy is a wild boy, allegedly, allegedly a wild boy. Like, okay, like anyway, Combs then knocked plaintiff down and attempted to force plaintiff to perform uh, oral. She fought back, standing up quickly and punching out at the same time, hitting Combs in the neck. Taken aback, Combs stopped his attempt. When Combs backed away in surprise, plaintiff grabbed her clothes and shoes and ran out of the bedroom, holding her dress in front of her like a towel. She ran around the residence until she found the front door and was able to leave the party. Although there were other guests still at the party, no one appeared to take notice. No one appeared to take notice of plaintiff's distress or attempted to help her. I don't know if no one appeared to take notice. I just don't think no one cared. I would have reworded that because they probably all saw that shit, but I don't think, yeah, I would have reworded that. Once outside, plaintiff put her clothes back on and left the scene in the dark. Plaintiff attempted to retrace the route taken by the limo driver. She kept running until she reached the gas station she noticed on the way to the party. The female clerk noticed her distress and allowed her to use the phone. Plaintiff called her father, admitted that she had lied about her whereabouts, and asked him to pick her up. Plaintiff's father arrived to pick her up shortly before dawn. After the assault, plaintiff fell into a deep depression, which continues to affect every facet of her life. Plaintiff suffers from PTSD and a seizure disorder caused by the traumatic event. Plaintiff has difficulty maintaining normal relationships and lives largely withdrawn from society. Um, this is interesting now because, and I know everybody is always going to say the same thing, and we'll see Jay-Z in his vehement denial of these allegations. It's like, yo, bring criminal charges. You hear a lot of times people say, like, yo, why you ain't if it really happened, why you ain't bring it up when it happened? But when you go through a traumatic event like that, it could be years before someone is in the right headspace to even tell someone what happened. A lot of times that conduct doesn't even get disclosed. People go to their grave with that shit. So the fact that a lawsuit or a police report isn't immediately filed isn't indicative to the allegations not actually happening. First of all, the other thing that's interesting here is there appears to be a potential third party who could corroborate this event who doesn't have a relationship with the plaintiff. I'm not talking about her father, we're talking about the actual clerk. Now, of course, 23 years, they ain't gonna know who the fuck that clerk at that gas station was. Herein lies the problem with plaintiff being able to prove the case. If this was 3, 4, 5 years ago, you could probably identify that clerk at the gas station, and that clerk at the gas station can say, hey, she came in, she looked disheveled. She was crying. You know, maybe she made a statement of what happened or something to that effect. But when you have time like this with these types of allegations, time doesn't favor the complainant. All right, first cause of action, the New York Victims of Gender Motivation Violence Protection Act. This is essentially an act that allows for people to bring a cause of action, I think, is up until February of 2025 for persons who've committed some sort of violent act against a person, and doesn't necessarily have to be sexual in nature, but it's gender motivated. So that's why that was cited. And this act, like I said, allows you to bring these old ass causes of actions all the way up until 2025. Let's see, Combs Business Enterprises, blah, blah, blah. Conspiracies. I'm looking to see if there's anything else in here. Hey, shout out to Tony Busby for bringing the smoke. Real quick, let's take a look at this letter right here. This letter was filed today. This is document 41. I actually went to the docket and pulled this pleading up because I was like, oh, this is an interesting letter filed by Jay-Z's attorney. So we're going to read this letter, watch a quick video about on the news about Jay-Z's vehement denial, talk about a few points, then we're going to hop out of here. All right, dear Honorable Judge Torres, we write on behalf of our client Sean Carter concerning the inflammatory allegations made against him in a recently filed amended complaint. Based on the meritless and frivolous accusations, Mr. Carter filed a motion to deny plaintiff's request to proceed anonymously pursuant to Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 10A, or to dismiss the complaint pursuant to Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 12B1 this morning. Due to the highly sensitive nature of this matter and the intense media scrutiny it has generated, we respectfully request to be heard on an expedited basis. All good stuff. 12B1 motion is dismissing for jurisdiction. This isn't the right place to hear this case. And the other motion they're arguing, and I agree with this motion, is not to allow the plaintiff to proceed anonymously. I'm a big proponent of there are certain reasons why people have to be made anonymous, but that shouldn't be indefinitely through the course of the trial. One big best thing about the United States is when someone accuses you, you have a right to face them. You have a right to question them to determine the truthfulness of their accusation. So I definitely agree that that's right. All right. For the avoidance of doubt, Mr. Carter is entirely innocent. This is a shakedown. He is not mentioned, referenced, or implicated in any way in the criminal investigation of Mr. Combs. Shout out to talking about your friend who got criminal stuff. Yo, I'm not him. All right. He is neither a target nor a person of interest in that investigation. Adding to the urgency of this matter, attorney Tony Busby has orchestrated a month long press campaign aimed at inflaming public opinion and escalating the events in real time on social media platforms. Every day in real time, Busby continued to amplify false narratives, exploiting the legal process to generate media attention to damage Mr. Carter's reputation. This relentless campaign underscores the need for a fast tracking hearing to address these issues promptly and prevent further harm. Plaintiff's request to proceed anonymously is both procedurally improper and unsupported by law. Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 10A require all parties to be named in their pleadings, reflecting on a bedrock principle of transparency in judicial proceeding. Plaintiff has failed to demonstrate any compelling circumstances that would justify an extraordinary departure from this rule. Hey, shout out to good attorney work. I agree with that. There's no need for you to continue to be anonymous in this type of process. No need. Yeah. Now, of course, what would I argue if I was an opposing side? Like, hey, Your Honor, my client needs to be anonymous. Now, this is what I would argue if I was an attorney at the Busby law firm. I would argue that once we initiated this lawsuit, us as the firm actually had instances of shakedown, strong arm tactics, and intimidation. If you can provide evidence to prove that, now you may have a justification. Your Honor, we're requesting that our client is allowed to maintain her anonymity during these proceedings. And the reason we're requesting this, Your Honor, is because the defendant has had a history of, trying to intimidate through force and, all of those type of things. So that would be the argument that you would make. I don't think they have enough information on that. That information would be, I don't think they would have. That's actually interesting. I agree that. How would I rule on that as a judge? I would actually probably rule in favor of Jay Z on that motion so that the plaintiff couldn't be anonymous for the remainder of this proceeding. Because Jay Z, even if they say that he has started an intimidation campaign, he just doesn't have a history of that. It's one thing to say that, hey, Sean Combs has this history of intimidation and he has arrests and charges associated with violence, but Jay-Z just kind of, Jay-Z beat a stabbing charge, but I mean, outside of that, he was found not guilty. So, Jigga was not guilty, not Kelly, but that's a whole nother story. But I would probably err on the side and lean towards Jay-Z winning that. I don't think the plaintiff should be allowed to remain anonymous because I don't think any conduct shown by Jay-Z warrants that extra type of cloaking for protective purposes. That's just my position. Y'all let me know what y'all think. All right, so plaintiff requests to proceed anonymously if both procedurally improper and unsupported by law. The plaintiff has failed to demonstrate any compelling circumstances that would justify an extraordinary departure from this rule. The speculative and unsubstantiated claims of harm presented by the plaintiff counsel do not meet the stringent standard required by the Second Circuit and other federal courts to allow this anonymity. Furthermore, plaintiff allegations, coupled with the conduct of her counsel, Anthony Busby, suggest a deliberate attempt to leverage the judicial process to generate unwarranted media attention and pressure Mr. Carter into a settlement. This misuse of the legal system undermines both the integrity and Mr. Carter's ability to defend himself effectively. Great argument. It is critical that the plaintiff's identity be disclosed so that Mr. Carter can investigate and respond to the claims fully and fairly. Shout out to good attorney work. I agree with that. We further note that the timing of the filing coincides with the ongoing media coverage of unrelated matters involving Mr. Combs' criminal trial, in which Mr. Bubsy does not represent victims, underscoring the prejudicial and retaliatory nature of plaintiff's claim. The amended complaint appears designed not to seek justice, but rather to amplify unsubstantiated allegations and harm Mr. Carter's reputation by Anthony Busby. Allowing plaintiffs to proceed anonymously would deny Mr. Carter the fundamental right to confront his accuser while simultaneously enabling plaintiff and her counsel to conduct a trial by media. Given these circumstances, we respectfully urge the court to deny the plaintiff motion, the plaintiff's request to proceed anonymously. I agree with him on that, and dismiss the complaint pursuant to subject matter jurisdiction. I disagree with that. I think it's in the right place. This matter is of the utmost importance, and we request an expedited hearing to address these significant procedural and substantive issues. Hey, shout out to them citing the District of Columbia case for the expedited briefing schedule. They ain't had no New York case to cite. That's weird. We are available at the court's earliest convenience to provide additional briefing or to appear for a hearing on this matter. Okay, so I think that's a well-written document. I think that's a real written document. I think that I don't know. Again, these are just accusations. Everyone's innocent or proven guilty. I personally would have wanted to see a little more meat and potatoes substance with regard to accusations surrounding Jay-Z, but I mean, I guess what they gave is what they had to give. Um, Definitely enough to proceed. On his face, I mean, as everyone should at this point, we're gonna need a little bit more to be able to really make a determination about what was going on. She was roaming around the house. Let's see. I'm just looking at the comment. Right, roaming around the house you're unfamiliar with to go lay down. Come on now. Hey, see, even y'all calling out some things. Hey, I'm just saying, hey, if y'all calling it out, if we noticing it now, this is the same thing that the jury's gonna be like, that sounds kind of sketch. The chat looks like I'm just talking about myself. That's funny. Jay may help Diddy with his million cases by incriminating their victims. That's fair, but I think that's a good point. That's a good point. No weapon formed against me. I think that's a good point. But I would just be honest. I think that Diddy has no goodwill or credibility established. Once that video footage released, any credibility or benefit of the doubt that anybody had for him went out of the window. So I don't think there's anything that can be done to help Diddy with regard to his case, in my personal opinion. Let's see. Her dad didn't know about her bucket list. Oh, hell no. Her dad didn't even know she was out of the damn house. Or, like, I don't know. Like, she just got that's crazy. I don't know. That's crazy for I just can't. Everybody's household different. My daughter's 13 and nah, my daughter, I wish she would try to sneak somewhere. Nah. I gave my little cousin all Barbies at a camper. She was hopping around. Oh my goodness. At 13, she should have stayed home. I'm sure this isn't her first rodeo. Hey, that's a fair point, and that's what the defense is going to say. Hey, okay, you sneak out of the house all the time, right? This isn't your first time. Let's just be honest, okay? If you think the first time a kid sneaks out of the house, the very first time they sneaking out of the house, they sneaking out to go to the VMA awards. The other thing is, I don't know. It's just so many questions. Like she talked about like a dress that she was wearing and how she was dressed, and I'm assuming she wasn't dressed like your typical non sneaking out the house 13-year-old, right? I'm sure she didn't have on like bell bottom jeans and a crop top or something. She talked about this dress. I'm assuming how did she leave the house? I don't know. I don't know. She told her father she was going to a party. I don't even know how she left the house in that outfit without there being a shitload of questions. Did she leave out of the house in one outfit, then change when she got out into something else? It's just so many things that just give me questions about this entire fucking process. Hey, I think that's a good point. That was the same point that I made. Hey, you're under the influence. You don't have a history of substance abuse. Like, the more illegal substances you use, the more you essentially kill all of the receptors in your brain that can release dopamine. So you technically can't get as high, but you're 13. You probably had no history of drug use or drug abuse. The first time that you use a drug, you probably gonna be I don't know. I think that's a very good argument for the defense. Okay, you left out, you snuck out to go to this party. You're at this party. You used the illegal substance, or you assert to have used an illegal substance. You were so woozy and didn't know what was going on, but you stumbled your way around this big ass house to be able to find a room. How far off was the room from where all the other party goers were at? I mean, I don't know. It's just a lot of questions, and there's a lot of things that's given inconsistent to me. Thus, Jay need to know which night and person is being referenced to prepare his defense. I agree 100%. Again, I'm always a big proponent of, if you're going to make an allegation, if you're going to file a lawsuit, people should be able to, hey, question you. They need to be able to adequately prepare defense. So I think that's a great point, and I 100% agree. She gave a year. Maybe Jay can remember the victims. Nobody's gonna remember that. The other thing is, let me see. Hey, we can make we can make light of some situations, even though some situations may be serious. Now, I want to pull up real quick a video because I want y'all to see a video. It's probably gonna be a couple of minutes, nothing long, because we about to get out of here. But I want y'all to see Jay-Z's denial, and his denial. It has some hood shit in it to me. Y'all let me know. But I thought it was kind of funny. I was like, okay, Jay Z, I see you. Let's see if I can find the exact video. I want to see if I can find the exact video. Give me 1 second. Y'all know I can't do two things at once. And I should have had this cue, but I was at work from like 7 in the morning. I got home. It was like 9:20. I got home at like 9:20. That shit was crazy. All right, let me see if I go to. I think I watched the video before, so let me go look in my history. All right, I think, is it this video? Let's see. I think it's this video because Jay Z's vehement denial of these allegations. It had language in it that I don't know about y'all, but I don't know how you all use this phrase, but anytime I've used this phrase or somebody else used this phrase, I'm not going to say it was necessarily for the purpose of intimidation, but I think that this phrase is used by black folks, in my personal opinion, when it's like, yo, I'm gonna let y'all see the phrase and y'all tell me first. Let me go ahead and cue it up. Let me stop this stream. I mean, let me stop that screen share. Let me share the screen. Uh, I believe this is the correct video. I hope it's this one because I watched a few of. I think it's this one. Let's watch this and see if I think this is the one. If not, I'm gonna Google it and just see if I can find the language.
Rapper and music mogul Jay-Z is now being accused of raping a 13-year-old girl with Sean Diddy Combs during an MTV VMA after party in the year 2000. The rapper issued a blistering statement in response and directed his comments at attorney Tony Busby, who filed the suit.
All right, this is it right here. All right, yeah, this is perfect. Okay. All right, so y'all listen to this apology, and I'm not saying Jay-Z. The attorney said Jay-Z engaged in intimidation tactics and trying to strong arm him. I'm not saying that Hove did that. Everybody's innocent. These are allegations. We got to get more facts. I think there's a lot of holes in this case for the plaintiff side. I think for me, this complaint is actually a little bit more favorable to Jay-Z because I could just take a pen and I could poke holes in this all the way through. Plus, the biggest thing that's advantageous to Jay-Z is, bro, this is from 2023. Evidence in crimes and conduct like this is normally gone in 7 to 14 days. So, I mean, I think a lot of factors in Jay-Z's favor, but listen to his denial. And he says a phrase this in the black community is normally associated with making a threat. Not saying he's making a threat, but this statement is one that if I made this statement, I'm pretty much saying like, yo, I will fucking fight you. Like, hey, don't make me come over there is essentially what it's saying. Y'all let me know what y'all.
The rapper issued a blistering statement in response and directed his comments at attorney Tony Busby, who filed the suit, saying, quote, "You've made a terrible error in judgment thinking that all celebrities are the same. I'm not from your world."
Yo, that's mad hood. Shout out to JC. Yo, you made a terrible error in thinking that all celebrities are the same. Now he could be referring to I'm not Diddy. Diddy's a wild boy. I'm a businessman, okay? But to me, I don't know. When I read that, I'm like, hey, don't get it twisted. I read that differently. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I'm gonna let this whole statement go through, and then y'all let me know what y'all think.
The suit saying, quote, "You've made a terrible error in judgment thinking that all celebrities are the same. I'm not from your world. I'm a young man who made it out of the project of Brooklyn. We don't play these types of games. We have very strict codes and honor. We protect children. You seem to exploit people for personal gain. I look forward to showing you just how different I am." Criminal defense attorney Lexi Rigdon joins me now.
Hey, I'm gonna keep it a buck. Like, I don't know who wrote that for Jay-Z. I don't know who wrote his vehement denial of these allegations, but I'm gonna give them a round of applause. I like that because it had language, it had sufficient language in there. And the way it was written, you didn't know if it was coming from because think about it. Who says that? I feel like I've been in situations where I was like, yo, I ain't about them games, son. Yeah, I ain't about them games. Where I'm from, we don't play those games. I play with somebody else. Don't play with me. Like it was couched in just the perfect way where it could be interpreted as kind of a tough guy approach, but he also includes the hey, I'm from Brooklyn. I'm a businessman. But talking about the code and all of that stuff, I don't know what y'all think. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I thought that was a very well written statement. To me, it was given. I don't know. To me, it was kind of giving a little bit of tough talk from the hood. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Diddy may have it on tape. Hey, 100. Hey. That's a fair point. We know this dude like to do the serendipitous recordings unbeknownst to participants. Again, everybody's making that same point. All good points. If it happens and there's a party that Diddy's hosting, he probably got the room already wired for video recorder. Appreciate the Illuminati or something else. All right, so let's go ahead and finish. We'll watch a few minutes of this, or a minute or so of this to see because I just watched that. Hold on, this is her. I'm trying to see some. Okay, hold on. Let me skip to this. Let's skip to this letter that a statement by the attorney for the plaintiff.
Happen, but I think it just needs to play out and we need to give him the benefit of the doubt at this point.
Well, that's what Tony Busby is saying. So this federal lawsuit was originally filed in October. So interesting that we're only learning about this now. And then Tony Busby responded to Jay-Z's statement by writing this on X. "Since I sent the letter on her behalf," meaning the defendant, "Mr. Carter has not only sued me, but he has tried to bully and harass me and this plaintiff We will let the filing speak for itself and will litigate the facts in court, not in the media. A spokesman for the U.S. Attorney's Office.
I'm going to be 100% honest. Anytime somebody say, hey, where I'm from, we don't play those games. Like that comment to me is indicative of somebody who, I don't know if it's going to be called a harassment or bullying, but somebody is like, I don't know. To me, that's a phrase that say like, yo, don't get it twisted. I ain't one of these goofies out here in the street. And when somebody say something like that, that's indicative of something associated with an ass whipping, in my personal opinion. That's exactly how I took it. Hey, sis, I agree 100%. Hey, shout out to the guy who wrote that statement. It was professional and tactful. Like that's like some shit I would say to somebody who got out of pocket with me in corporate America. Like, yeah, like, hey, don't get it twisted. All right, don't let this suit fool you. You know, hey, just because I got this suit on, don't think I won't take it there, bro. So, hey, shout out to whoever wrote that. I think that was a very real written statement. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how this entire thing plays out. I'm going to be honest. This is just me. Absent video footage of this happening, I actually think that, how could I put this? A person could be smart in one aspect and very stupid and ignorant in another. I typically think that Jay-Z is a much smarter, more strategic person than Sean Combs. I'm gonna just be honest. I think Diddy is a very, very smart businessman. I think he has the ability to identify talent, but I don't think he's super bright. I don't think that that's just me. I think that Jay-Z is much more meticulous. I think he's an overall smarter, more strategic person. And I think that Jay-Z moves in a way where he probably doesn't burn as many of his bridges. He doesn't burn as many bridges that Diddy probably has. So I think he has much more leverage and pull at his disposal. So it'll be interesting. I would be personally, I'm just be honest. Personally, I would be shocked if this lawsuit that named Sean Carter, I would be shocked if this plays out. I think Jay-Z is probably going to come out fine from this unless some shocking evidence comes up. I just think that it's too far removed. I think there's too many holes and what ifs in the story. I think that the time and collection of physical evidence has long been gone unless someone kept something in like an evidence bag, which I seriously doubt. I don't know. I think that if this did happen, because we talked about the female celebrity who was in the room, how that's actually, favorable for plaintiff's attorney, but it's also favorable to Jay-Z's attorney if in fact this did happen. If in fact this did happen and celebrity B female was in the room. That testimony from celebrity B female, she's probably much more inclined to testify on Jay-Z's behalf than she would be on the behalf of the plaintiff. And what if that testimony is indicative to what if that testimony seeks to elicit some of the things that we're questioning? This person was being under the influence. They didn't know what was going on. For all we know, they could say, yeah, she stumbled in the room. We went in the room to check on her. And when we went over there to check on her, because she looked like she was in a mess, because she was clearly on something, you check on somebody, you put your hand on the back like, yo, you all right? And she started wilding out. So I don't know. I just think it's too many holes. I don't think this is going to be an issue for Jay-Z. I think that he got 99 problems, but I don't think this lawsuit is one. That's just me personally. That's my personal take. I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Yeah, he does. See, that's what I said. When I read it in more of a hood. It was like, that statement was like, 80% hood, 20% professional. And I'll be honest, that statement to me was indicative of somebody who probably would would. I'm not saying he's doing it, but that statement to me, it read as something indicative of somebody who would try to use intimidation tactics. I thought the same thing. I was like, yeah, that statement was kind of hood, but hey, it is what it is. I like that statement. If it were me, I would come out with a statement, something like that. So I definitely agree. Yeah, this will get thrown out. She said that she was out of it multiple times and said it was getting progressively worse, but was able to give so much detail. I'm not doubting it, but there are questions. And I agree. I just don't think that if we had 12 jurors in a box, I don't think 7 people would be like, yeah, I agree with these facts as it relates to Sean Carter. Now, as it relates to Sean Combs, he's fucked. Okay. Most times at this point, anybody can say anything about Sean Combs. And I think the public generally is going to be like, yeah, it's an allegation, but he probably did that shit. But Jay-Z, he has, to me, he has done nothing to discredit himself. So I think we got to give him the benefit of the doubt as to statements he make and those statements being truthful. That's just kind of my take on it. Jay will get off, and we don't have all the evidence. Maybe she stole a t-shirt. Maybe she stole a t-shirt with DNA. A t-shirt with DNA wouldn't last that long, though. 20-something years. You would have to literally be like a forensic expert to be able to store that t-shirt in the matter where that DNA would not be either contaminated or decomposed or something to that effect. Yeah, she said Diddy, he did it, but Jay-Z is so meticulous and intentional in what he puts out, I can't see it. I agree. Birds of a feather flock together. I mean, like, I don't know. Like, is that true though? I don't know. Like, I know that's a saying that everybody say, but I could think growing up when I was like in high school, I hung out with a bunch of guys who like would probably be considered goon squad, so to speak. But I wasn't a goon squad guy. I hung out with them. You know what I mean? I hung out with them. We were together. But hey, sometimes when stuff got too goonish, DFD rolled out. I had I had levels. I had levels to it. Like when things got too real, I'd be like, you know what? All right, fellas, I'm about to holler at y'all later, man. New York undercover on. I'm about to go on in the house, watch Martin, man. I'll catch up with y'all later. So I mean, generally I know people say that, but I don't know. It's been times, and this is what in the 90s. So like, yeah, I don't know. I hung out. I can remember specific moments of, I hung out with guys who, they may have participated in certain activities, but I didn't do that shit. I just hung out with them because, like, hey, we all from here. We all going to this event together. Like, it is what it is. So, I mean, I get your point, but I would just be honest. Like, hey, DFD rolled out. I couldn't do it. Hey, that's a fact. Monica Lewinsky, hey, she held on to that thing for a while, but I don't know. Dress and a president. I don't know. Bottom line is, I think this complaint is a little bit flimsy. I think the allegations are Swiss cheese as it relates to Jay-Z. So I don't think anything is going to come from this. It was going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But if I had to guess, because the same way you can add a named defendant can be removed from a lawsuit. A named defendant can be removed from a lawsuit by filing of a motion. A named defendant can be removed from a lawsuit by, hey, we came to terms with a settlement agreement, so we're gonna drop our allegations against Sean Carter and just leave the allegations against Sean Combs. But I believe Jay-Z when he said he's not gonna pay her anything. I seriously don't think he's going to pay her absolutely anything. And that's how it's going to play out. I think this one is going to go in favor of Jay-Z. We have to wait to see what the answer says and look at the facts. But right now, it's giving Swiss cheese to me. Hey, if y'all watch on the replay side of the game, Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. And hey, it is what it is. I appreciate everybody in the chat who tuned in. Before we dive out of here, let me give y'all a round of applause. As always, I'm appreciative of y'all allowing me the opportunity to talk about this stuff, and we just go through it and hype it up. And hey, I'm gonna just be honest too. If Jay-Z beats these charges, I'm expecting the song to come out. I'm gonna just be like, yo, when was the last time like Hov dropped something like, hey, tell me that wouldn't be fire, right? I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but hey, the last time he had a not guilty charge with the stabbing incident with Lance Unrivera, I remember he dropped the not guilty song. So yo, shout out to Jay-Z. If you can win this one, man, you should go ahead and drop another song. We haven't heard no music from you in a while. Show us that you still got it. Yo, y'all take care. Y'all have a good evening. Get some rest. Be safe. Be blessed. Peace.